Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Sunny Vanderstar. Today's topic is Wild Encounters, My Life as a Naturalist Guide. And it will be presented by our fabulous NatHab expedition leader, Arpita Dutta. Arpita, thank you so much for being here today and for presenting such a personal look at your experiences as a guide. I'm excited to hear some stories.
Yeah, thank you, Sunny, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. It's always a pleasure, and today it's mostly I'll talk about few sightings and a very tiny part of my life, how I got into all this thing, and few sightings I have encountered personally, and a few with our guest, and I hope you will enjoy. But the stories, I think the first thing is that definitely it's always the Murphy's law works in the forest, that whenever you get something to see and you hardly get a chance to take a picture, either you don't have the camera or either you don't have the opportunity to capture the moment. So most of the pictures over here are just to resemble the story, but it's not exactly from there. But I'll try to make the story. I'll try to tell you the story. I hope you all will get it. Okay, so what I have heard from my mom, especially that I was like more inclined towards nature from the very beginning of my life. And even she used to say that when I was only 2.5 to 3 years, I used to move out from the house to the forest area or to the bushes and everywhere, or catching beetles or earthworms. These were like from the very beginning, climbing trees when I started growing up. And also she has to always bring me back to the room. And this I'm talking about because I have grown up in my maternal grandpa's farmhouse when before I got admitted to the school. So because that was in the city. And so every time there is a holiday, we used to go there. And of course, I used to become a tailless monkey. Nothing, I mean, can be better than that to define how I used to roam around in that farmhouse. And so, yeah, from there it started. And gradually growing up and learning about them. And of course, when we were growing up, there were no internet. So it's mostly the books, posters, some sculptures, and of course, what I used to see around me. And of course, there were a lot of questions I used to ask, I think millions, to whomever I used to get. But unfortunately, neither the family of mine, not from my dad's side or mom's side, are into this. So yeah, so that I think gave me more curiosity to know more about the wildlife and nature. So once I started, growing up and reached that age where I can take up my things, like not into the corporate 9 to 5 job, what my dad definitely wanted me to be in. But I had to listen to my call to be with animals. And that's how I started moving inside the forest. Fortunately, I have been like guided by a lot of people, like scientists and the people who are working in the natural in the ecosystem and the biodiversity. So got a chance to be with them to learn more about it. And the more I learn and more I feel that, okay, this is what my life is. I mean, I can't think about my life without wildlife and nature. And yeah, slowly like started rescuing animals, releasing them, like rescue and rehabilitation of different species. This is a civet. In my city, we get a lot of civet babies, abundant civet babies. Either the mom got killed or abandon the babies somehow like that. So yeah, and these are jungle cat kittens. This is a black buck, and these are squirrels. So yeah, like that, and started working in wildlife conservation with different organization, and of course, all in the breeding programs, rescuing during the flood, managing the crowd. In the breeding program of the saltwater crocodile, I was a part of it, and yeah, lots of this kind of things actually made me gave me the chance rather to be more close to the animals. I mean, understanding them and the happiness. I think it's not like I was giving a second chance for them to leave, but I think they have given me a great feeling of life. I mean, the meaning of life I have got from them. So it's been an incredible journey and still going on. But with all this thing, the opportunity came in 2007 that I can do guiding. That was amazing, but because it started with awareness thing, the outreach programs and stuff. So I started with that because I used to do a lot of conservation work, and till date I do, working with the forest department, working with the local communities, that how we all get together. I mean, all the stakeholders can come together to save the wildlife. So these all have started, and with that in 2007, I got the opportunity to guide and to aware people about whoever coming around from around the world to the different parts of the forest. And it's more than showing them the animal. For me, it was more like to narrate the story, to narrate what nature is actually trying to say, or their behavior. I think that, and the questions I started getting, I think that helped me so much to know more about the ecosystem and the wildlife, for sure. Without so keeping it short, because I have a lot more stories to tell about the encounters. But yeah, with this short story start, I just wanted to tell you that yeah, I mean, for me, a tiny thing matters. Even it's a very tiny beetle, or insects, or it could be reptiles, to the bigger thing like the elephants. Everything excites me, and it comes very natural. And I always say, whenever I meet the guest, I do the orientation, and I always say that I can get excited even seeing a butterfly. So even if I say, oh, look at the butterfly, if I do this, don't get scared, because that is my moment, that my momentary excitement which comes out. And of course, then I say that why I'm so excited to see it. So of course, it's like that. So with the first thing, I would say that for me, become a naturalist, I think it is a life turning thing for me, because what I do, what I see, what I believe, I can share with the like-minded people, people who believe in nature, people who love to be around nature. So I think it's a combined effect, which brings a lot of happiness. And I'm really feel I'm blessed to have a life like this. And I thank all of you for visiting, for choosing different wildlife areas and to go for wildlife, because I think for the naturalists, that is the best thing when they share their stories with the guest. Yeah. So the first stories I would like to come to, I start with a leopard, because I really love this cat. And this has happened in the central part of India. And for me, leopards are very special, because even working for, I mean, more than 2 decades in the forest, I could never come across a leopard properly. Before I could say the word that, oh, there is a leopard, or look at the leopard, or if I see it, the leopard is gone. They're so quick and so camouflaged that if they move slightly behind the bush, it's difficult to find it out again. So you have to keep an eye on it. So from that day onwards, from the very beginning, I have been like searching for leopards, and I really want to see their all behaviors. And then one of my friend told that you go to this part and you work there for a few months, you might get to see good number of leopards there. And that I was not in a clue that I have to be there, but because of the leopard, I took up a job there, and I said that okay, I have to see the forest and I have to see the leopard. So yeah, so after that, and in that part of the forest, we have night safaris, and there one day we are out. Our vehicle is moving through the forest, wooded area, and at night it was more like this is dark. Okay, this is the light. We carry small flashlight, though we don't put over there, but yeah, on the side of the animals, so the glare of the flashlights help us to see the animals. So it was very dark, and we were watching a Indian hare, and it was hopping. Suddenly, there was an alarm call of a sambar, one of the largest deer in Asia. So, and the sambar call is more like a poking sound, like po. It's like this. And imagine at night, it was so loud because that sound was echoing, and we always say that when there is a sambar call, we are very sure that there is a predator around, because once they see it, then they give a call. So we were pretty sure that something is there. And in this forest, we have tigers as well. And following that call from the distance or from the area it has come from, we started moving towards that area, and gradually that distress call was getting louder. So we were approaching very close, and at once we saw few vehicles standing there. So we got to know that, okay, this is the place where something is happening. But because of the night, we could not figure out anything. We could not see anything. Only after a short, gap, that somebody is giving out calls. And suddenly we have been like looking throughout, and suddenly I saw behind the bush, like 4 eyes are, like glittering, or I would say shining eyes, and 2 are little bigger and but more close or orangish in color, and the latter one, which is below. So if you say 4 dots in a square, the upper one was little bigger and brighter, and the lower one was little faint, and it was much down. But you cannot have like 2 eyes, 2 different types of eyes, so you can understand that there are 2 different animals there. After a while, we saw there is a fawn of this sambar, and the sambar is standing behind the bush. We could see it. Definitely, it was not that light. I just gave a reference picture over here. This is a female sambar, and she was standing right there, and little far, and above that fawn, like it has a inclination, and there the fawn was sitting, and behind that there was a leopard, just almost in a position where it can jump on that fawn. And of course, without disturbing it, because we should not disturb nature how it's going to be. And suddenly we could only rely on what we were hearing. And suddenly there was a loud noise done by the fawn, and we all thought, oh no, I mean, it got it. The leopard got the fawn. But then the sambar, like the mother, the female, ran towards the leopard, and she actually pushed the leopard to save her fawn. And this is how the fawn looks like. Though I have taken a mobile picture, but it is very difficult to understand. You can see the leopard here and behind the bush, and this is how the dark area is. And the fawn, somehow following its mother, it came down into a narrow area, and the leopard was crouching. You know that leopard's stealthy move. The shoulders are moving. It was half bent, and it was trying to approach the fawn. And the mother got that fawn on the near the road where there is a little, uh, like open space. The leopard came close and just about to strike on that fawn. Again, the female literally chased the leopard, and the leopard had to climb on a tree. And we could see that totally, that how ferociously or how forcefully the female is trying to protect her baby, but the baby was pretty injured. So we figured out that maybe later the leopard got it, because after a certain time we cannot leave inside the park. It's a rule for the department. But that, imagine, for me, I haven't come close, like I have never had a good sighting of a leopard, and this is like my first proper leopard sighting with this kind of story. Like, it is, and the leopard was a female. It is trying to get the fawn and was taking several attempts, but because of that protecting mother, it failed on every attempt it took. At least when we were there in front of, I mean, when we were there in that situation. I think this is one of the memorable sighting I had with leopard, and of course, this is my first proper leopard sighting, so I'll never ever forget that. And it's more than the pictures. I think at night in a pitch dark area, it was a thrilling experience, definitely. And yes, with that, I was happy. I came back happy that, yeah, this is not because, of course, not because of the kill and stuff, but that is how nature is. But I was so like enchanted with this whole natural behavior of the animal kingdom. And with that, I don't leave the night behind. I'll tell you another story of the same park, which happened at night. But one difference is it was a moonlit night. It's a full moon night, and it was so bright that we could, at least after a while, when you close your eyes and then open for after 2-3 minutes, you actually get to see the forest, because your eyes gets used to with the dark, and that moonlight was was shining on, I think, every leaf of the forest, on every grass and the water body. It was so beautiful. So again, just to give you an idea, this is the moon, and see how the forest was looking like. So here again, the jeep is going in a play in on the track, and suddenly, and the track was in between the two mudflat type of area, little highland on both the sides, where all the trees and bushes are there. While passing through, suddenly I saw again some eyes are shining. Thankfully, their animal's eye shines a lot. And I asked the driver, just stop the vehicle. There is something. And the size of the eye were pretty big. So as soon as I saw, I felt like they are like it's of the tiger. We came back, and yes, there was a pair, a mating pair was there. And imagine that night, uh, they were there. They started coming down on the track in front of the vehicle. There were no other vehicle around. We were the one and only vehicle in that side of the park. And they both came in front of us. They started moving, and the female, while moving, they are brushing each other's, they were walking by brushing each other's body, face, even the tail. And you can see that they are completely engrossed into that courting behavior. The female is moving and the male is following the female. And when she is moving little ahead, the male is somehow with the paw and he's stopping her. So all these things were happening right in front of our eyes. So you can see this is the male, and this is the female. This is thankfully there was a light in front, like they came in front, so the vehicle light we could see both of them. And then we switched off the vehicle light as well. And once again our eyes got used to with the dark, they almost were snuggling each other in front of the vehicle, sitting right in between the track. And then there were some growls because, of course, when the tiger tries to mate, they hold the collar cliff of the female, and when they penetrate, because their penis need a support of that baculum bone, so it is very hurting for the female. And you can hear that this sound is coming, so you know that the male is trying to mount on the female. And they have been like, oh, all this, the tone of asking to come or to move aside. So all these things were happening. Few we have heard, and a few part of this whole drama we have seen in front. And I think it was going on for more than an hour. And there were, I think, four of us were there, including the guide. And that have been, I think, one of the most incredible sighting of tiger. Though there are many tiger sightings happened even in the morning, but that thing, even if you see mating, like courting tigers even in the morning safaris and stuff, but that night, I think the night thing, because you feel vulnerable at one time because it's dark, and then this moonlit night, which brought that forest more alive, because you could see a little bit of it. And then their behavior in front of us was just completely mesmerizing. I still, while telling you the story, trust me, I'm having goosebumps because the feeling was amazing. And yeah, so that's how it ended. And they went back into the bush, and so we were quiet. There was no disturbance. So they actually have with their own the natural behavior what we have seen. After an hour, they come back, and we came back to the lodge. Uh, and I think that night I could not even like sleep properly, because every time I was thinking about the sighting. Until date I do. And with that, uh, another sighting of the tiger. This is from Central India, Kanha National Park, where we go for our one of the national park where we visit during our Grand India wildlife adventure. And this is one of my favorite forests. I always say Kanha is like my first crush. Whenever you get back, you see your crush, you blush, right? For me, Kanha is like that. And why I say it's a magical morning, of course, you get a lot of tiger sighting. This is our last morning safari in Kanha. So we had a very good tiger sighting from Bandhavgarh to Kanha, the rest of the safaris. At least we had on and off, we could come across good sighting of tigers. But this morning, most of the guests, they said, okay, we will, because it's a short drive, as we have to go to our next destination from here. This was a short drive of an hour and a half. And so they said, most of them, they said that, okay, we think that we will take some rest. And because for 1.5 hours it's fine, because it's a long journey back to where we have to go. So, but that morning, only two of the guests and I was there. The first picture, what you have seen, that's from the same day. So both of them said no. We are coming, no matter how much time we do, we will be in the forest. Absolutely fine with me, because even for me, even if it's for 5 minutes, I feel like to stay back in the forest if I have time. So yeah, this happens. We entered early in the morning in Kanha. It's little cold, and again we heard some alarm calls, and we saw a female tigress which was coming out from the woodland to the grassland area, and it started moving through a grassland to again to the forest. This is how the path. So somehow the guide over there, they know that the track she follows, and rather this is one of my favorite female of Kanha. I have like seen her from very young when she was a year old, and now she's almost 6 7 years old. So yeah, and see, she crossed the grassland. The guide know just anticipated that where she can be out, and we somehow rushed to that area. And after 5 10 minutes, we heard a few call, and then she came out. This is almost a 10 minutes, 10 12 minutes ride where we already stopped. And then she came out strolling. We were the only vehicle over there. And she was like head on. I think she was walking towards the hood of the jeep, and we were having an amazing sighting. And the best part about the sighting is she was quiet, and she was marking a territory because she was actually trying to take another female territory here. So, and we could see almost almost the behavior of a tiger. It's no matter tiger or tigress, they have very similar behavior because they both are territorial and solitary. So she was rubbing her face to get the scents out here. She started sniffing. She was scratching, which I could not take the picture though. She scratched, she was hugging the tree, and she started rubbing her face over here. She turned around, and you can see the jet spray here. She was marking her territory out here, and these all things are happening right in front of our eyes, and there were no other vehicle to disturb the sighting, and we were quiet and just enjoying this morning and this beauty. Even she came through it, she sat here at the right here, and she took some rest, and looking here and there, sometimes you will see her nostrils were, you know, like sniffing, how you feel that it was growing big and small, the whole of the nostrils. And all this activity, she scratched at one area. uh, so these are, I think these are, we talk about it, that the tigers do this, and we have been talking about those things during our entire safari till this morning. And this morning we got to see the behaviors of the tigress, and also the behind story, that this is another female territory, and she's trying to overpower that, and that's why she's quiet and quietly marking its territory. She's trying to take this entire territory because it has a lot of potential here of the water bodies and prey base and stuff. So this is, and she's bold, she's very bold, and she's very clever. So this is how the safari ended. And the picture in the cover, like the first slide, uh, we took this picture after the sighting got over and while returning. That, yeah, this is how it is. So you never say no to uh, a safari unless and until you are feeling really bad, because you need a lot of rest. As of course, I mean, that's completely up to you, but you never know. Inside the forest, sometimes we get a question that which time of the year do you think there are good sightings and stuff? So it's very difficult because it's their forest, and every season they adapt and they move. Their behavior doesn't change, right? They just only adapt with the situation, with the surroundings. So anytime in the forest can be good for sightings. For me personally, I love sightings in winter, because in winter the forests remain pretty green, and no matter, and most of the animals with fur have their winter coat on, so they are so bright and they look beautiful behind those green shades of green. And especially in winter, because it's a wooded forest, like moist deciduous to dry deciduous forest, in winter, those dapple sunlight through those forest, and imagine the animals walking or just grazing, no matter which animal. It's an amazing sighting happens. So yes, anytime in the forest, it can be really memorable, and I do believe this is one of the memorable sighting we had with our NHA group. So yeah, with that, again, in a Kanha National Park, I always say that this is a gaur, uh, largest in the Bovidian family. And if you have listened to me before, you know that I call this massive animal as the Schwarzenegger of the forest, because of its muscle buildup and the size, and still it's gentle. And when it's walk, you can actually see all the strips of muscle are moving, so they are that muscular. You see the dewlap of a bigger gourd, the dewlap almost touches the ground, so they are really big. They can grow up to 16 to 1800 kilos. So yeah, you can imagine the size of it. So apart from that, it was an evening safari, like afternoon safari. And you know, that's the golden light, like in the winter around 3:30, 3:34, during that window, you get amazing, beautiful golden light which shines. This is how the forest look like. Like it just took a shower or just bathed in gold, the liquid gold. It looks like that. It's beautiful, definitely. And with that, the gaur was moving on the track, on the side of the track, and our vehicle was following very slowly. It was far, of course. We always maintain a safe distance so that we are in a safe place. At the same time, we don't disturb the animal to do what naturally it should do, not to attract its attention. So we were pretty far. I was mostly looking through the binocular to see each and every movement of it, how it's going. So suddenly it's went out from the track and started to get into the bush. And you know what? In the forest, there are small flies, very tiny flies, and they have the dung and these things are stuck on their back of the gourd sometimes. So the flies are those tiny flies, where they are harmless to human. So those flies were sitting, hovering around that gore. And of course they get to rest on their body because they have tiny furs. And they were just hovering, and he was moving towards it. And while moving from one branch to another, there was a huge like spider web, and it was shining, not all the thread of the web, but most of it were pretty shining. You can see the strands, shimmering kind. While the god was passing through through that web area, those flies got stuck into that spider web. And Oh my God. I swear I still can see it. Those tiny flies have this transparent kind of a wing, and through the binocular, or like just like that, because they are trying to move, right? After they got caught into that spider web, they were trying to move, and the sunlight fell on it, and they were like shining and shimmering. And what a wonderful sighting that was. I mean, you can see like small golden stars are in between the forest, and they are moving. It seems like active stars you were seeing, just not the night, it's in the golden light. So I think that was amazing. And of course, looking through the binocular, it was more engrossing. I mean, it is very difficult for me to express that thing in words, but I hope you can feel it. You can imagine. Just close your eyes and you see it, that on the threads of those beautiful spider webs, all these insects were like, it seems like dancing thing. I wish I had that in mind, that I take my camera. If I would have taken in a low shutter speed, I'm sure they would have given an amazing artwork of, of those insects in that light. So yeah, this is a tiny sighting. I mean, it's simple, right? But it is so memorable that I still, when I see the golden light, it gets me back to that sighting. Yeah. Next, I will talk about, but this is a little bit scary part of it. So this is in Chitwan National Park in Nepal, where we go. So you can walk over there. Though we don't do NHA, we don't do walking safaris, but it is allowed to walk in the forest. You can take a walking safari, but it takes a long time, like a full day thing. And anyway, so once I went inside, and we were moving, and it was silent, couldn't hear anything much. But as approaching, suddenly a bear came out, a sloth bear. So it came out, and it was surprised. I mean, we both got surprised to see each other, because there was no clue. Neither we got any sound, no smell, nothing. And Chitwan has huge, tall grasses. The elephant grasses are there. Again, these are two not from the incident. Of course, I was not in a position to take a picture, because as I written, the paused heartbeat, exactly that what has happened to me. But this incident has taught me, that how be calm inside the forest can definitely, like, at least there are chances that it can save you from that. So I told my guests that don't move a muscle, but unfortunately, I could hold on to two of them, but the rest, they started running back, and that disturbed the bear. It stood up, which is almost like 6 feet. It stood up and snarled and like this sound. Oh gosh, I with that sound I was like, okay, this is the last day of my life. But when you being the leader, you are a pro, you I mean, I think it's an untold or thing, it's a reflex which works, that you are the protector, like you have to protect those things. So I stood in front with the two guides out there. We were holding only bamboos, and we started patting the bamboo on the ground to make some sound. And that's it. So it paused for a while, and then we held the bamboo like horizontally, that if anything happens, we are the first one to stop it. And we stood silent, no movement, nothing. It started running towards us, again stood up, almost, which was around 5 feet away. Yeah, if I lie down, yeah, 5 feet away. It stood up again, and again it did that loud noise, of course, to stare, to make us feel the threat. And I could actually felt that blow on my hair, you know, and that saliva and all this I could feel on my face. And so I think I don't know from where the inner the I mean I was not fearless, definitely not, but I don't know from where the courage has come that I stood in front with the guides, even for the guides as well. I mean, how three of us could gather the courage and stand. And honestly, we just stood, and we were feeling like, okay, either we are happy to be alive or either we are dead. But at that point of time, the bear stopped. It again dropped its feet on the ground, and it quickly moved to the side and went in the bush. And after giving a pause, and then I swear I could see my heart pounding on the ground. It was so scary. And of course, so this is one sighting of the sloth bear. And of course, in a sloth bear in India, in many places, it's very dangerous because many people got killed or got injured by a bear rather than a tiger, because of their, you know, the sickle type of nails they have. So they actually take off the skull, you know, the plates of the skull. That is too strong and sharp. So yeah, but yeah, that was the situation. But of course, we are saved. We are happy to be alive. But it is not always scary with the bear. Even in Chitwan, we got to see the sloth bear with cubs with on her back. So sloth bear is the only bear which piggyback their cubs, and there were 4 cubs which were moving, and a vehicle was there, and suddenly it went inside the bush. We couldn't see it, and we all were looking from the side it went, and all of us our head was turned towards the right, and suddenly uh, I just turned towards, you know, there is a water body. I turned towards the body. It was standing right beside. You see, this is the track. This is the track. Imagine our vehicle was right here that time, and it was right behind this grass. What you see, it was right behind the grass looking at us, and you can see the cubs. So it came behind us, and from behind, which we couldn't see, and it was standing right behind the car and looking at us, that what is exactly she's about to do. So then we moved ahead, and she came out on the road, and she started went back to the same. But she was not frightened, of course, any of her gestures, very calm and quiet. She was more curious to see with her cubs, and they are so tiny, so small. So this is how the cubs actually hold on to the mother, you know, to the far. So I think that was the scariest part of the bear sighting, and this is more like the sighting like this. And of course, there are short stories which, to use the bush loo in Chitwan, I had to pee in front of I mean, rather not in front only, by looking at a king cobra and doing my business. And it was a majestic, and I'll never forget that bush loo, or I'll never forget that peeing story of this. But yeah, it's just a short thing to like one of my memorable, and I think this is the best I could think of. And of course, the king being a snake eater and the one and only snake to build its nest, it itself is majestic and incredible and so unique. So seeing a king in front of me and experiencing that, I think was amazing sighting in Chitwan. This happened, the protector, yes, this happened in Kaziranga National Park. So this is the 3rd national park we visit in our Grand India. So what we could see is, again, Kaziranga is also have a grassland, and we get to see the greater one-horned rhino out there. So here, the mother and a very little, maybe few months old cub was not a few months, near about maybe 6 to 7 months old calf was moving around the mother, but it actually doesn't know what to do. So it was mostly playing around its mother. And while doing that, inside the grassland, there were few water buffaloes, like a group of a herd of water buffalo, and they are very, they can be very aggressive, and they are big. So just to make you understand the size, so see the size of the water buffalo, and this is the rhino. And it was there. Suddenly, a male water buffalo started approaching towards that calf and the mother. And of course, the rhino was almost in a way that it has to stop the water buffalo, and the water buffalo was almost, you can figure out with the gesture that it is trying to attack, or it is not in a good mood. So it can take a challenging fight with the rhino. So this was happening, and we have been waiting that, oh no, what is about to happen? Because water buffalo had this sharp horns, and rhino of course could be from the strength, but they are also big, and they have strength too. So we have been waiting for that, what exactly about to happen. And of course we are more worried about the calf, because it was very small. Suddenly, in between those grassland, when they were in the grassland, in between the grassland, a big tusker came out and stood in between the two, and lift its one front leg. Like, if you take it up and then tap it on the ground, how you would imagine an elephant doing that, it did that. It took up its leg, and it put it over there, and then it made a hold, like it was holding it there. And the gesture was showing to make the water buffalo understand to move back, to push back. The water buffalo looked at the elephant for a while, and then it took a turn, and it started moving towards its herd. And the mother and the calf, it was behind the elephant, and once the water buffalo moved back, they also moved towards the forest area. And then after that, the elephant started moving towards that place. And this is amazing. I mean, the mutual understanding between them was, I think, that made me feel amazing. Like, it's exciting. Like, they exactly know how it is. They know to protect, they know to fight, but there is no unnecessary thing they get into. There are reasons behind it. And of course, being an elephant, being an empathetic and intelligent animal, I think that's why they are called the protector of the forest. And of course, with that, I think we came really happy, and it was a amazing feeling of understanding their behavior at the same time. So yes, with that, and though we are running close to the end, but this one I would like to say, this is not about the sighting, but this is a realization for me, or a lesson I have learned. This happened in Kanha National Park. So while I was working in Kanha, there was a program done by the Forest Department to take, different people or the locals to get them inside the forest, to make them feel about the forest, so that they have this, the community contribution towards saving the wildlife and the forest. So this time, it was from the local school, where there are visually impaired children were there. So they are like teenage girls of a group. So I had a few girls with me. So this four girls whom you see here, they are visually, I think this girl was little partially, like partial blindness was there. So I took them inside the forest, and I think it was the toughest time for me, because it's so difficult, because you can't tell them the colors and stuff. But I tried to narrate whatever I'm seeing, whatever I'm feeling, how it looks like, sometimes drawing things in their hand to make them understand. At one certain point, we came at one area, and it was the morning, early morning, the sun is rising, and I just looked at the road and I said, oh wow, it's a beautiful morning and this is how it is, and a tiger is just missing. And I looked at them and I looked back. When I saw the tiger came out actually from here, you know, the tiger was here, I think. And as soon as I turned back, I saw him here. So we took the vehicle more close to it, and here it was moving towards the grassland. And trust me, it was one of the most amazing, not for the sighting purpose, but uh, in case of photography, I think that could have been have the most wonderful frame, because at one certain point, how the tiger was moving, the golden light and the grass, the tip of the grass where still the dewdrops are there, and the tiger was crossing, and you can see those dewdrops were shining. Even the far at the back were like, because it's a young male, so a few of the back far was has a golden lining. I think it was a perfect frame to take a picture. But that day I wasn't carrying my camera because I thought that I better, be with the children, so it will be more good. And every day I go, so it's fine for me. And after seeing that, and like over here, sorry, after seeing that, um, I was more like, oh no. And there was another girl who said that, oh, take out your camera. I said, okay, today I didn't bring my cam. And so I was feeling bad about it. I was not happy that I could not take that picture. And I was creeping a bit. Uh, then one girl held my hand and just said that Didi in Hindi means big sister. So she held my hand and and said that it's okay. Today you just see and enjoy the forest. Look at us. I mean, we are enjoying so much. You just tell us that what the tiger is doing. And that was like the tightest slap on my face. That I have an eye. I could see whatever is happening in front of me. I could enjoy the sighting. And those girls, like, they don't even know. So over here, you can see the smile. I mean, they were looking at me to listen to me. And even they don't know if the tiger is moving here and there. They're seeing, they're visualizing the animal through my words. And I was feeling bad about not bringing my camera because I could not capture the thing. I think that shook me apart. And I think since that day, the way I used to take pictures, or I was crazy about clicking pictures and all. Uh, but from that day onwards, I think I love to click till date. I love to click pictures, but I'm not crazy about that. I have to have, even if I miss out some pictures, some frames, I think I just enjoy the sighting with my binocular. So I think that was a big learning and an eye-opening thing for me in the forest. So being a naturalist, I think the more meaning of the naturalist was, I think another naturalist born that day, that what you see, what you feel, I think becomes more and more precious. And you can see here, I mean, how they're, you know, they were like, their concentration, she was listening so carefully. This girl even can't see, but she was trying to. And this girl over here, she told me that you enjoy today, uh, just like us, we are enjoying your stories about the tiger. So yeah, a big learning for me. And I just it's always like I fill my eyes with tears whenever I say this story, whenever I think of this story. Yeah, so this is a realization, a learning. And with that, I think the mutual respect and trust inside the forest is very important. So being a naturalist guide, I think, and we are already like so enthusiastic, and we always thank to our guests to keep up with our enthusiasm and craziness, whatever, because I can tell about all the ELs and all the naturalists who are so much into forest. Uh, they are little crack. They have little cracks in the brain. So yeah, so to keep up with that is amazing. But at the same time, I think most of us, or we all hope that, you know, because inside the different parts in the world work differently. For India, especially, when it comes to a tiger sighting or anything big, all the other vehicle rushes in, try to be as close as possible. Sometimes we better, like we always, being in NHA, I think we are, and that's why we love to work with this organization, to be a part of this organization, because they think like us, like the wildlife comes first. So no matter even other vehicles or other people in that same park is doing rubbish, is breaking some rules or stuff, we try to be ethical, we try to follow it. So sometimes it happens we are behind and the sighting is happening, but when you look at the animal, I think you would realize that what we are doing is best. At least we know that we are not disturbing it, we are not making it feel threatened. So I think that is very important, to be inside the park. And of course, it's not only about the bigger animals. I think being a naturalist, it's like from the soil to the tip of the leaves, and each and every living organisms is as important as a tiger or a leopard or an elephant or a rhino, because it's an ecosystem. And to understand the ecosystem, I think it's better that we keep that faith in the forest, that once we respect the forest will never send us back empty handed. Something we will come across which will be the memorable thing in the park. So yeah, that's what it is. And thank you so much for loving me. And I always say that thank you to the universe and thank you to all the people who has given me abundance of love and care. Sometimes I feel like a child. You can see it here. So it's been amazing to be a part. It's been amazing life to be a naturalist guide, when you meet so many people and you get not only from one but from love from everyone, and the way they adores. I think that's a precious or the priceless gift I can think. I can even, I mean, ask for more. So thank you so much for listening to me. I know it's time, but Sunny, I'm ready to take up some questions.
Okay. Thank you again. I just want to echo the sentiments that I'm reading in the comment section, which is we so appreciate you sharing your stories and your passion and enthusiasm, and knowledge that comes along with them. So we really love hearing you speak, and this personal look at your life is so interesting. We do have some questions. Let's see. I thought this was an interesting one. One of our guests says that they noticed that the tiger's tail is black and white and reminds them of a snake. Do you have any idea why the tail doesn't have a reddish color like the rest of the tiger?
I think it's because of the lower side of the far maybe there in the picture, but it is more, it has the orange color in the tail.
Mm.
It has. It's not all white. Wait a minute, let me go back quickly. Yeah, so it is more like that. It's not properly white. It's because of the picture. Maybe you can see there is a brush of this orange color out here. And sometimes, and especially if you talk about the stripes, it's not only about the tail. The stripes are mostly for, to get camouflaged in the type of forest they live in.
Mm.
So And when they walk, imagine it matches with the branches and stuff with that. So it's like a like how zebras would be walking and you lost the sight if they are walking together. It's more like that. So the stripes help with that.
Mm. Most of your pictures seem to be taken in the fall. There's lots of dead leaves and things on the ground. Is that the best time to visit your national parks?
uh, any time of the year. But yeah, between February to March, and as I mentioned, that winter is my favorite time of the year because of the. It's not that in winter you get very good like winter is all about beautiful sighting. It's not about the good sighting part. Good sighting happens during that February, March, that area, or during the summer. So yes.
Why is it called a sloth bear?
Yeah, they shouldn't have actually, because the sloth bear is no no way they are like slow like the sloth. Actually, it has this very sluggish kind of the fur and the body. That's one reason, and another is just like the sloth, the bear nails are like that. So while describing it, it's more like the sloth, like the nails, and it's a bear. So that's how it termed as the sloth bear.
Hmm. One more question, and this is sort of generally about safety. Um, can you explain why it's safe to ride in an open Jeep when in the forest when the animals are around, and if you have any protection against things like sloth bears or king cobras when you're out in the on a safari?
So for this, I would say if you're talking about wherever we go for a safari with NHA, we are not anywhere in the forest. We are not allowed to get down in the park, in the core area. It's only in Chitwan National Park they allow to take a walk. So for Grand India, even in Nepal, when we do Nepal Bhutan, we don't get down from the vehicle. So it is in that way, it is very safe. And for the open vehicle in central India or in Chitwan, what we do is we always try to keep a safe distance. And I think that's the reason why, like all the guides, and we are here to understand the behavior of it. And we never take a risk to go close, or we just first thing what we do is to understand. And these tourism zone animals, they kind of get used to, or they know the vehicles. Unless and until you do something which attracts their attention, they are pretty chilled out, to walk by, or they will move away. They do it. It never happened that they have attacked.
Well, thank you again. It was absolutely captivating to hear your stories, and those images of the golden light are so beautiful. I'll hand it back to you if you have any last closing comments.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to all the stories, and you all like coming every time. I think that make us feel more good, and sharing the stories is always fun. But someday definitely, hoping to see you all someday and see the story together, and we will narrate someday with somebody else. But till then, thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. So take care. Bye, Sunny. You too. Have a great day ahead and have
Thank,
fun.
thank you. You too. I also want to thank everyone who tuned in. Please join us again tomorrow for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, we'll conclude the webinar. Have a wonderful day, everyone.